Hey NFL fans, this is Gary Green, longtime sports handicapper and professional sports bettor in Vegas for the past 35 years. And this year, Gary wins videos. And this is your third NFL playoff game, the early game on Sunday at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, as the Los Angeles Rams travel across country to take on the Philadelphia Eagles in a cold Philadelphia setting on Sunday afternoon. The Eagles are a 6-point favorite. The total is 43.5. And this game on NBC. LA on the road this year, 5-3. You can add in a win last week in a neutral field game, though, in Phoenix in the playoff win over the Vikings. The Eagles 8-1 this year at home, so they've been very tough to beat. Now, these two teams met earlier in the year. The Eagles whitewashed the Rams 37-20. Barkley ran for like 1 billion yards. And he had a 70-yard touchdown run, a 72-yard touchdown run, finished off with 255 rushing yards as the offensive line just dominated the defensive line of the Rams in that game. Now, last week it was the Eagles beating Green Bay for a second time, and this will be the second time around here. Hurts got in some action there, of course, last week in a win at home in their playoff win against Green Bay. But he only had 131 yards passing, did have 2 touchdown passes, so that was at least good. But he shook off a little rust as he missed the prior 3 games with a concussion. Now, L.A. on a neutral field, they really beat up the Minnesota Vikings. This was a game where quarterback Stafford started 10 for 10, got into a quick groove, and they just never looked back. It was a wire-to-wire easy win for the Rams. The defense had 9 sacks of Sam Darnold, just one of the more dominating performances I've ever seen of a defensive line having. And in the last 5 games, this defense of the Rams has allowed 6 points, 9 points, 9 points, 9 points, and then they gave up 25 points when they sat their starters. So really with the starters in there, this team has not even given up double digits in its last 4 full games. This is a very impressive defense. And since they got whitewashed by Barkley and company running the ball in that game, the defense has completely turned it around. In fact, the biggest turnaround of any defense that I've seen in the league in a long time. It's not just one game. 4 games is a large sample. So the Eagles, 1 home loss. They lost to Atlanta 22-21 in week number 2. So been a long time since they lost at home. They reeled off 12 wins in their last 13 games. Their defense is number 1 in the NFL. Got some youngsters out there, but they have really just completely dominated. Tremendous pass rush by Carter, probably the unspoken leader of this defense right now. Doesn't get the credit he deserves. This kid's a beast rushing up into the middle. As far as Philadelphia, they've also been a tremendous moneymaker, cashing 8 of their last 10 home games. And again, 7 of those games have been wins by double digits. For the LA Rams, they're 5-0 against the spread the last 5 games on the road, though. So the shocking thing about it is they've done this with a negative yards per game difference, and that's the worst in the NFL playoffs of any of the teams that made it. The Rams, though, have won 10 of their last 12 games, so really you're getting 2 of the hottest teams in the NFL playoffs outside the Detroit Lions. And as far as the Rams go, that could become a big negative, though. They did play Monday night, so they will be playing on the shortest of rest of all these 8 teams playing this weekend. Now, since, like I said, they allowed Barkley that big rushing game, the Diaz completely turned it around. Again, the last 4 games, they've allowed only 33 points and under 300 total yards, 294 to be exact. As far as the Eagles defense goes, they've allowed 13, 7, 13, 16, 18, 23, and 16 points in their final 7 home games. So you ain't scoring no points on this team, not this year. Been tough sledding anyway. Final thoughts for this game. I look at this game with the temperature to be in the mid-20s at kickoff, possibly 3 to 4 inches of snow. High winds. I've been there many times, being from that area. The winds in there swirl around. It's a tough place to play when it's windy. So that means that I expect to see a lot more running in this ball game, especially, again, when Hurts has gotten 1 game. He shook off some rust, but they're not passing the ball all that much. Now, Stafford, before the nice game last week, I did a video about that last week's game, and prior to that, he had 189 yards passing, 110 and 160, and just one touchdown. The big thing for him was he wasn't getting sacked. The offensive line for the Rams just absolutely off the charts phenomenal, and they're going to have to be against this pass rush of the Philadelphia Eagles that don't even really have to blitz that much because they get a lot of pressure just from their front four. But he did get sacked 2 times last week. But the bottom line is for the Rams to win this game, I believe they'd have to be +2 turnovers or more. +2, not even +1. That, to me, won't get it done. Again, Stafford, completions in the last 4 starts that he made, because he did sit out that season finale. So throw that game completely out the window because all the starters sat out. But Stafford, completion-wise, 19, 17, 14, and 16. I don't see how that could be enough to get a win here on the road in this environment. I just think that they're going to need to get turnovers, maybe get, like they did last year, picking up a fumble and running in for a touchdown, maybe a special teams touchdown, something like that, because again, Hurts shook off the rust. But the negative part is he's been sacked 11 times. So his offensive line, they talk about it on the games every time. They praise like they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. But he holds the ball a lot too long. I don't know what his decision-making has been. It's been for like 2 years now. He's great at the tush push. He's got great players. He's got great wide receivers, nice tight end. Again, very good offensive line, no doubt about it. But he's been sacked 11 times his last 5 starts. So again, maybe you can get to him and hit him and he fumbles the ball. That's what you're going to need. But the longest pass completion for Hurts, 28 yards. So this team's grinded. And they got into field position last week, fumble the opening kickoff Green Bay. So they get to put points on the board. Turnovers, get the ball in a good field position. So they haven't had to work full fields. If they have to do that in this game, scoring's going to be very, very low in my mind. But the difference for Hurts is he doesn't give games away. 0 interceptions his last 5 starts and only 5 all year. In that type of game, you're going to have to be able to, again, create turnovers in some other way. And the home crowd, as far as I'm concerned, will be very huge in this game. The big factor is the Rams are a dome team. When they went outside the domes, they scored 9, 6, 20 against the Eagles. But they were down 37-13. The Eagles pulled the starters and they scored a touchdown in the final minute. So really, scratch 20, put in 13. And then they scored 22, 19, and 18. So they're really at a 17-point max in my mind on the road in this environment, especially in a cold wind, snow, if we get that. So can they pull off an upset doing that? Of course, anybody can do anything, especially when your defense is creating this much havoc, what the Rams have done. Can they turn around at a performance against Barkley in the offensive run game that they suffered a complete disaster, demolition game? I don't know if you got that kind of stuff in your bag with these young guys. But I haven't decided yet. It's still a little early. I haven't decided if I'm either going to take the Eagles -6 or I'm going to take the under 43.5. But this is still a defense for the Rams that has done well. But these are rookie guys. Last week, the first playoff game was really a neutral site. It wasn't on the road, even though it was. This game here, though, in Philadelphia, going to be a test that they've never faced before. And I expect that the Eagles will advance. Don't expect them to put up tons of points either. So like I said, I look for a lean to a lower scoring game. I don't expect to see a ton of big plays. But again, unless the Rams, you're looking at the Rams, unless they're +2 turnovers or more, they're not getting an upset in this game. So very difficult game, I think, for both offenses overall. I don't see any big fireworks show coming from either one of them. So enjoy this ball game. Make sure you check out my other 3 videos, and I will be finishing up the last one. The biggest one, the Baltimore Ravens, the Buffalo Bills, possibly the Super Bowl team sitting right there. Whoever wins that game, don't miss that video. I'll give you everything in depth. I'm going to do a fantastic video on that one. Don't miss it before you make a bet on that Ravens-Buffalo Bills game. And we wish everybody a winning weekend. Hope all your wagers are winning ones. And please drive safe out there and never bet what you can never afford to lose. God bless.